Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Thousands of years ago, there was an ancient land rich in resources whose royalty frequently traded with the ancient Egyptians. Known as the Land of Punt, the location of this rich nation, known in history as the City of Gods, has evaded archaeologists, with some saying it was in the Arabian Peninsula whilst others argued it was in Africa. But thanks to a discovery in the Temple of Hatshepsut by Dr. Filip Taterka of the Polish Academy of Sciences, we now know with certainty that the Land of Punt was located in Africa, and it is all thanks to a depiction of a bird of prey, carved onto the wall of the temple of the 18th dynasty queen. During the reign of Hatshepsut, the queen led a famous expedition to a distant African land known as Punt, and on one of the terraces of her temple, known as the Portico of Punt, there are depictions of the gifts the Egyptians received from the local people. Among them are ebony, gold, aromatic resins, ivory, leopard skins, as well as animals such as cheetahs, giraffes, leopards, lions, and a bird. But the identity of this bird has always remained a mystery, but that is until now. Dr. Taterka said it was long thought that the bird that was difficult to identify was a crane, because at this spot the ornament was in poor condition. Only the rump was visible. But during the analysis of the walls, Taterka noticed another, previously unknown depiction of the same bird, this time in a much better state of preservation. The latter contained elements that turned out to be characteristic only of one type of bird, known as the secretary bird. On one block there is a large body with long legs, and on the adjacent block a head with a short sharp beak and distinct feathers protruding from its head. These latter elements indicate a secretary bird, an identification that has been confirmed by 3 ornithologists from South Africa who specialise in this type of bird. I personally had never heard of this animal, but its exotic nature and rarity is what made it such an important gift. It's a large bird of prey, about 1.2 to 1.5 metres in length. It feeds on small rodents and snakes, which it kills with quick strokes of the leg and then swallows them whole. The temple reliefs are the only depictions of the secretary bird in dynastic Egyptian history, and archaeologists agree that these birds are the rarest of all the products brought to Egypt from Punt. But how does this bird help us identify the location of Punt? Well, these birds are only native to Africa. Although there are only 2 depictions of the bird at the Temple of Hatshepsut, experts believe they are one and the same bird. The first depiction shows the bird being offered as a gift, and the second time, Hatshepsut inspects the received gifts in Egypt. The Temple of Hatshepsut, partially carved in rock, consists of 3 terraces connected by ramps and crowned with porticos. Apparently, some of the temple inscriptions indicate that Hathor, the divine mother of the queen, was from Punt. In fact, there are strong indications that the pharaohs considered the origin of their culture to be the Land of Punt. Punt is described in ancient Egyptian texts as the Land of the Gods, and a region rich in resources. 4th dynasty reliefs show a Puntite with one of Khufu's sons, and 5th dynasty documents demonstrate trade between the 2 countries. Through the ages, Puntland became a semi-mythical land for the pharaohs, but it was certainly a real place well into the New Kingdom. During the reign of Amenhotep II, delegations from Punt were accepted. The reign of Ramesses II and Ramesses III also mention Punt as well. The pharaohs were fascinated by this land, and they called it a land of plenty, and it was best known as Tar-Netjer, which means God's land, or Holy Land, land of the gods and the ancestors. Researchers have long believed that Hatshepsut's temple is referring to the Land of Punt as being located in present-day Somalia, and the secretary bird is another piece of evidence that may confirm this. Furthermore, the present-day region of Somalia, known as Puntland, is named directly after the ancient Land of Punt. Researchers have also found numerous similarities between the ancient Egyptian and Somali vocabularies, dances and ceremonial dress, not to mention inscriptions that point to Punt being located in the Horn of Africa. As previously mentioned, Hatshepsut's inscriptions claim that her divine mother, Hathor, was from Punt. And there is also evidence to suggest the Egyptians considered the goddess of childbirth, Bes, as originating from Puntland. Could Punt be the true origin of the dynastic culture? Well, Some people certainly think so. Materials from Punt were used in temple rituals. Priests wore leopard skins, Punt gold was used for statues, and their incense was burned in temples. Hatshepsut's reign was one of the most prosperous in Egyptian history, and her expedition to Puntland was one of her greatest successes. The importance of Punt is evident at her temple, where scenes from her life decorate the walls, such as her birth, the transportation of obelisks for the Temple of Amun in Thebes, and the expedition to Punt. Hatshepsut believed her expedition to Puntland was a command from the gods. She had to find a way to the sacred land. She ordered the construction of 5 ships, which travelled down the Nile, through the Pharaoh's Canal in the eastern delta, and into the Red Sea, where they went towards the Horn of Africa. From the sea, they travelled to Puntland through the Red Sea hills. Inscriptions suggest that relations between the two countries were very close, and show that the Puntites to be an extremely generous people. Many Egyptian scribes routinely praised it for its riches and the goodness of its land. Hatshepsut's trading expedition was also fair. The Egyptians received gold, apes, elephants, leopards, skins, ivory, spices, precious wood, cosmetics, incense, and 31 incense trees. This was the first time a plant species was successfully transplanted to another country, and it was so successful that the trees flourished in Egypt for centuries. In return, the Puntites received weapons, jewellery, metals, and tools. The Puntites were so amazed at the arrival of the Egyptians that it is written that they asked the sailors, "How did you reach here, the country unknown to men? Did you come down on the ways of heaven, or did you travel by land or sea? How happy is God's land, which you will now tread like Ra?" Although researchers will continue to debate the origin of the Land of Punt, thanks to the secretary bird depictions in the Temple of Hatshepsut, we know that this land of the gods, the possible homeland of the ancient Egyptians, was in Africa, and most agree it is somewhere between Ethiopia and Somalia. Although the land slowly vanished into myth and legend, nobody knows exactly what happened to the sacred land. Modern-day Somalians continue to name their children after ancient Egyptian gods, and vestiges of the country's rich heritage continue to live on through local customs and language. But when you study this fabled land of the gods, you are certainly left with more questions than answers. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.